There are many different gig work companies across the board, whether you're in Canada, the United States, or wherever. But the question is, which one should you start doing in 2025? Well, to answer that question, my lovelies, we're going to start breaking some things down, because if anybody just says do Uber Eats or do DoorDash, I'm going to say don't do that, because every situation is highly unique. The first thing that you got to do is you got to verify which one most likely has the quickest processing time. And the reason why is because if you're doing gig work to do as a side hustle, to build for a hobby, you might not be in a rush, but you want to get your money quicker. If you're doing deliveries because of the fact you're in a financial pickle, you need that money faster. Or if you're doing it just because you need part-time income, which basically all three of these are still, one is a want and the other two are need, well then you need money quicker. So if the processing time is quicker to turn around, which is the application forms, the background check, and etc., then that's the company that you want to be going with. Now I'll say this, in a general aspect, Uber Eats still seems, I'll get it one day, to be the company that is the fastest turnaround time when it comes to the whole application process. They still are, but it could have changed from the last 3 years that I've applied, but this is what I'm seeing amongst the comments and everything else. If you go on DoorDash and skip the dishes, often it's a wait list. And unfortunately, I cannot speak for Grubhub, I'm not in the US. When it comes to Instacart too, there's also a wait list, but Instacart is groceries. So you gotta also weigh, do you wanna do groceries or do you wanna do food deliveries? I do find food deliveries to be a lot quicker, but there are a lot more benefits too that can come around when it comes to doing groceries, such as sometimes higher payouts, you're out of the cold faster, you're not using as much gas because you're more around the store doing actual groceries than you are anything else. Now, the second thing you have to keep in mind when it comes to choosing the right app for you to get started on in 2025 is which one is the most popular in your area. And this might take a little bit of scoping to do, because if Uber Eats is popular in your area like it is for me, you're going to want to apply for Uber first because you want to go where the orders are coming from. Skip the Dishes, for example, in my area, it's still popular, but when I'm on a shift with them for 4 hours, sometimes I'm lucky if I get 3 orders. Now keep in mind that has to do with things like acceptance rates, etc., etc. But at the end of the day, it's still not the same as in with Uber. I will get 3 orders sometimes within 30 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, but I know I'm getting a higher volume of orders. DoorDash, on the other hand, because they have more strict rules upon who can start dashing now versus Uber Eats, well, it makes DoorDash a hard contender for me to start out with, and that's because of the fact that I can't get online with them as quickly as I can with Uber Eats. So you got to verify in your area which one is more popular. If DoorDash is more popular in your area, then it is more likely that they're going to invite you to start dashing now to get out there and get those orders versus Uber Eats that would just be on standby. But either way, you got to make sure that there's a popularity amongst orders in that area. And another thing you have to consider is the market worth it when it comes to going with that gig company? And let's say you live in a rural address and you want to go with Uber Eats, but there's not enough restaurants that are supported with Uber Eats in your rural location, then I'm not going to tell you to aboard with Uber Eats. Go with another one of the companies. If you are in an area, just like a rural, where you have to drive out a lot further than you think just to go get yourself some orders, I don't know if I can necessarily even pick one of the apps and say, go for it when it comes to doing gig work in 2025. It's one thing to want to get assigned with an app to start getting the work done, but it's another thing when the work is going against you because it's going to take you 45 minutes just to get to work, even though you're not exactly assigned like an employee. Now, when it comes to starting off with an app in 2025, you also want to consider one thing just to get your foot in the door is you kind of want the app with the least amount of rules. I'm not saying that so that you can go cheat your way into getting things done. I'm saying it so that you get the vibe, you get the feeling without getting the pressure of the company on your back throughout the application. DoorDash will track my speed. If I'm accelerating, if I'm braking too hard, all this stuff that I don't need in the back end of me. Skip the dishes. If I'm not in the restaurant at 10 minutes, they're going to revoke my order. But Uber Eats, they don't complain too much. So I gotta say, not to be biased, but Uber Eats is just the easiest pick because they have the easiest set amount of rules. Go get the order, drop it off. They don't have a delivery bag required, so you don't have to worry about that for a sign-up process. With DoorDash, you have to wait for the delivery bag. With Skip the Dishes, you have to verify your own or you have to order them. And again, with Grubhub, I can't speak towards it. But with Uber Eats, there's, not that there's no rules, but there's a lot less rules. So because of this, you can start integrating yourself into their platform first before you start integrating into other ones and getting used to it. These are the things that you need to keep into consideration when it comes to choosing an app in 2025. Don't listen to individuals that say, go with Uber Eats, you'll make more. Go with DoorDash, you'll make more. Go with Skip, you'll make more. There's nothing determining it if you haven't answered the questions that I just said previously on how to help you determine which app to pick in 2025. Once you start doing that, the rest is history and you'll be on your way to doing some gig work.